Hello and welcome back to the another episode of the Hindu News Analysis. Well, the date is 6th September 2025, and in this video we are going to discuss some important articles which are very much relevant for your preparation. Before we'll start our discussion, I would like to give you the brief idea how we are going to discuss these articles and what our approach would be. With respect to every article, first we will try to understand what is the summary of the article. Then we'll try to understand what are the key points given in the article, which could be very much important for your prelims or mains exam, which will add to your data. And then the third, we'll look into what can be the possible prelims or mains question which can be framed from this article. So these are the things which we are going to look into, all the articles which we have discussed, which we have to discuss today. Now, without any delay, let's start our discussion by looking at the first article, which is given here. It is about India's strategic autonomy in a multipolar world. So this article, it is, as you can see, it is written by Mr. Shashi Tharoor. As it is said, when Shashi Tharoor speaks, world should listen. So he talks about few important points in this article. First, he talks about what this strategic autonomy is. Strategic autonomy is, then he talks about the multipolar world, India's belief in multipolar world, having relations with with different countries at the same time, with US, with China and with Russia, and thinking of their own self-interests rather than what the world demands them to do so. Then the importance of multipolar world and its relationship with the non-alliance movement, its relationship non-alignment movement. Then the third, we will look into how our relationship in this article, it gives us the idea how our relationship is different with respect to different countries. For example, with USA, how it is being different, with Russia, how we have the historic ties, and with China, how we have the relationship, we have good trade, but at the same time how we respond to China, that is differently. So in this regard, this article is written, and finally it establishes the fact that when we discuss these multilateral forms, when we discuss these relationships, what India should adopt to, India should always stick to the multipolar world rather than being in alignment with the rather than being in bipolar world or unipolar world. So this is what this article exactly is talking about. Now let us see what are the key points given in here so that we will get the proper idea what was given in the article. First, it talks about the definition of strategic autonomy. It is how Mr. Tharoor defines strategic autonomy. It is something to be learned. We can say it is the ability of a nation to pursue its foreign policy and defense interests independently. So what is strategic autonomy? It is the ability of a nation to pursue its foreign policy and defense interests independently without being a client state or constrained by alliance obligations, without being impacted by the other state. In simpler terms, it implies flexibility and engagement with multiple powers on one's own terms. What our self-interests demand, on that terms we will have relationship with different countries. Then how it evolved over the history. The concept is rooted in India's post-colonial history, evolving from Nehru's non-alignment to the current government's multi-alignment. So it has evolved since the history in during the Nehru's time, after the after we got the independence, when it was the Cold War era. At that time, the Nehru's foreign policy was non-alignment, and right now our foreign policy is multi-alignment. We believe in aligning with multiple powers. Then it is the balancing act with the US. How India's balancing act with the USA looks like. India has a maturing strategic partnership with the US. For example, Quad, we have I2U2, we have IMEC, but maintains its independence by resisting pressures on issues like Russian energy imports and insisting on its national interests. Even though we cooperate with the US, we had seen recently why US has imposed these such much tariffs on us, because we did not listen to them. We did not cut our trade with Russia. We did not cut our energy imports from the Russia. So that is one of the reasons we don't get impacted by what the world is trying to how the world is trying to pressurize India. We don't get impacted by that. Then what is the complex relationship with China? India's policy is combination of deterrence and engagement. At the same time, we show the deterrence when there are border disputes. When it was Galwan, we showed the deterrence, but at the same time, we have the engagement. We have great trade with them. And right now, we are again, if we will see the recent Shanghai Cooperation Organization, how we had tried to re-engage with them. And also, we are, in the next article, we will see how our, External Affairs Minister is being the part of the virtual summit of BRICS, and also how we are trying to host the BRICS summit in next year. So we had, at the same time, we had shown deterrence to Russia, China, but at the same time we have great relationship. We try to balance the two. We try to balance the strategic autonomy and the foreign policy at the same time. Then maintaining ties with Russia, despite Russia's global isolation right now, as it is facing direct sanctions from the US and the European nations, India continues to maintain its historic relationship, which includes arms and energy trade, and refuses to choose sides in binary contest between the West and the Russia. So this has been our approach. And then he says how it is the opportunity for India, rather than fall into the pressure from the Russia or China or US, and believe in the unilateral or bipolar world. India should come through it, and India should lead the global south and show India's global leadership. This is what the article talks about, India's global leadership. The article positions India as a voice of the global south, a sovereign pole in a rebalancing world that seeks agency, not alignment. We seek agency, not alignment. Then what are the challenges? The article acknowledges challenges to strategic autonomy include global interdependence, technological dominance by few countries, and domestic political and economic vulnerabilities. These are some challenges. We can come through them and we can achieve this leadership goal. Then what is the vision for the future? Strategic autonomy is presented as a crucial pragmatic strategy for India to navigate a turbulent world without losing its identity or aspirations for global leadership. So this is what this article has discussed here, how India's approach is with respect to strategic autonomy, how India has always served its self-interests, and at the same time India has always tried to balance the world powers. We always believe in multipolar world rather than bipolar or unipolar world. So this is exactly what this article is talking about, and how India can get how India should continuously believe in India's global leadership, that how we are the voice of the global south, and what are the drawbacks, how we should work on them. Now with respect to this, let's see what kind of question can we frame it from this article. There could be various questions, and the simplest one is this question. It says that I2U2 grouping is a strategic partnership that includes India with which of the following countries? Israel, Italy, incorrect. Israel, Iran, incorrect. Israel, United States of Israel, United Arab Emirates, and United States, 100% correct. So with respect to this question, the correct answer is option C. So who are the members of I2U2? It is India, it is Israel, it is US, and it is UK. So it is UAE. These are the members of I2U2. So with respect to this, I hope you had understood the article as well as the context of the article, the questions here. Now here I would like to take a minute to give the brief introduction about this initiative which we had started way back, so that if you are new to our channel, you will get more connected with us. And if you only watch our daily news analysis, then you will get the idea what else we bring on here. So basically from 2nd June 2026, we started an initiative here by the name Target IAS 2026. Under this initiative, we promised you that every day we will upload 2 videos. One in the morning session where we will discuss the current affairs. Second in the evening session where we will discuss the static syllabus. This is the current affairs video where we will do the news analysis. And in the static syllabus, I had promised you by the month of January 2026, I will complete full syllabus of yours. Whatever would be required to clear the exam, that would be covered. But there is only one exception, and that is the optionals will not be taken care of here. So this is the initiative. And here in the static part, we started with Indian polity, which we had completed, then governance completed. Right now we are discussing ancient history, and almost we are about to complete it too. So this is the initiative where we had reached with respect to this. And also, as I told you on the day one, with the lectures which I deliver here. With these lectures, you need something to read from. You know, it is not, it is beyond the capability of human that they will contain everything in their lectures. Even though I try my best, even though if you will compare, maybe I may lack in experience. But if you look at the information which I give here and you will compare it with the coaching institutes, I can guarantee you, if not, it is better than them, but at least it is on the same level. So this is what I want to express here. So with respect to this, as I told you, you know, with these notes, with these lectures, you need notes, and we had prepared a comprehensive book for Indian polity and governance. This is beautifully written. You know, this book, it is approximately in 1100 pages. This book would be approximately in 1100 pages, and in this book there is no topic which you will not see there. So it is like an encyclopedia, but it is very much comprehensive for both prelims and mains. And the best thing about this book is that with respect to every topic, there would be the possible prelims or mains question, so that it will give the idea how this question, how this concept can be asked in the exam. So if you want to get access to it, you know what you will have to do? You will have to just mail me at salvation UPSC 136 at the rate gmail.com, and once you will mail me, you will be told to pay only 200 rupees for this book. This is the minimum amount which you can give us through the appreciation, or it is only for you guys. So only 200 rupees for this book. If you want to get access to it, you can get it. It is like, I can say, it is like an encyclopedia. It is like a, you know, question series. It is like the comprehensive book. As I told you, it is in 1100 pages. Everything would be there, whether it is related to prelims or mains. So with this, if you want to be the part of it, please do subscribe the channel, do share it with your friends, so that they may also get benefited from this initiative. Please do write in the comments what else should we bring for you guys. Now without any delay, let's move to the another article here. As you can see, the External Affairs Minister to join Brazil-led BRICS virtual summit on US tariffs, Ministry of External Affairs. So the External Affairs Minister, Mr. Jaishankar, is going to join Brazil-led BRICS virtual summit. So what is, as we know, the Brazil and India are the two countries on which US was not that great. You know, there are 50% tariffs on both the countries. So it is said that the theme of this summit would be discussion on the tariffs from the US, tariffs from the US, and how to respond to them. So with respect to this, let's have a look at what are the key points which we can get from it, and then we will see the question. Here, Indian representation External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar will represent India at a BRICS virtual summit. Conveying body and purpose, the summit was convened by Brazil's President Lula da Silva to coordinate a response to US tariffs. Geopolitical context, the meeting is taking place against a backdrop of heightened tensions following US criticism of India's recent diplomatic engagement with China and Russia, as in the Shanghai Cooperation Organization. Then, economic importance of tariffs, India and Brazil face the highest US tariffs at 50%, while the BRICS nations face different, often lower rates. Then, what would be the agenda of the summit? The meeting will likely focus on strategies to counter unilateral economic measures and promote multilateralism. Then it further talked about how BRICS got expanded from the acronym to other countries too, as Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa. Then what are the further additions? Egypt, Ethiopia, Indonesia, Iran, and Saudi Arabia, and the United Arab Emirates. India's future role, India is set to become the next chair of the BRICS grouping, indicating its continued importance in the forum. So with respect to this, let us see what kind of question can be asked in the exam. Here, a very simple question. In the context of the recent expansion of the BRICS grouping, which of the following countries were admitted as new members? Argentina is incorrect, so we can eliminate option 1, option C, and option D. We are left with option B. So the correct answer would be option B, which is 2, 3, 4, and 5. So with this, it was very simple and straightforward article. I hope it is very much evident and very much clear to you guys. Now let's move to the another slide and see what type of question can be asked from it. As US, Trump says, US has lost India to darkest China. US has lost India to the darkest China. So at the same time, there are some, some high officials from from US who are urging India to move away from, who are urging India to move away from BRICS and be the ally of US. But as we discussed in the first article, we are not the country who will fall under the pressure from the Western nations. We had always believed in multi-alignment or non-alignment. We don't believe in bipolar world. So what we may absorb the sanctions, but at that time, even during the times when our economy was very low, we did not bow to anybody. How could we bow now? Because look at our economy right now. We have the world's fourth largest economy. So in this regard, the recent tariffs which the Trump imposed, and he is now realizing that how India has, in a way, is partnering with China and Russia, and he believes that both Russia and India, they are falling in the trap of China, but it is not exactly the true. So with respect to this, let's see what kind of points which could be important for us to note down here. First, U.S. accusations. President Donald Trump accused India of siding with China and Russia, stating that US has lost India. Second, pressure to choose a side. US Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick explicitly called on India to leave the BRICS grouping and align with the US, which is exactly opposite we believe in. Then India's official stance, the Ministry of External Affairs has officially maintained a cautious silence on Trump's remarks. We are not giving the statements officially with respect to him. Unofficial Indian response. What was the unofficial Indian response? Anonymous Ministry of External Affairs officials said that US tariffs policy and hostile rhetoric or a miscalculation, asserting India's stable partnership with the US and its independent role in global affairs. So, according to them, it was a miscalculation. Then, economic tensions. The article highlights a 50% tariff on Indian imports, reportedly linked to India's purchase of Russian crude oil. Multilateral grouping. The article mentions several key international organizations central to the geopolitical discussions, including the SCO, BRICS, and Quad. Impact on bilateral relations. The strained relationship has raised doubts about the future of the Quad summit, which India is scheduled to host. India's foreign policy. The article illustrates India's policy of engaging with multiple global partners, platform SCO BRICS Quad, while facing pressures from a major power to abandon its strategic autonomy. So this is what India's foreign policy is right now. What this is the biggest challenge in front of the India's foreign policy. So in this regard, with respect to this article, let's see what kind of question can be asked. A very simple forward, because there were the mention of different organizations. So this type of question can we expect from it. With reference to the news article, here I had brought it like that. Consider the following statements about the groupings mentioned. The Shanghai Cooperation Organization includes India and Russia as members. Correct. BRICS is grouping of emerging economies that includes Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. It includes it. It does not say it only includes. Then it would have been incorrect. So here it is correct. The Quad is a strategic forum that comprises Australia, Japan, India, and the United States. So this is also true. So with respect to this question, the correct answer is option D. Here I would like to mention that never in the exam you will find statements starting like that. So you have to keep it in the mind, because we are discussing the news articles. I have to frame the question from that news article itself. So sometimes I make questions like that. It will also help you in the comprehension. You have to be extra ready, and your mind should be very open what you are reading. So with this, let's move to the another slide and see what kind of article is given in here. Here it is about the fixing the problems, unlocking India's growth potential. What this article is basically about? It is basically about GST 2.0. It says that this GST 2.0, it is not a tax regime, tax change which we had brought in, but it should be looked as the economic reform. It should be looked as the economic reform. Which will boost our exports, through which we will boost our exports. There would be more consumption, and the no new businesses will bloom. New businesses will bloom. And it also talks about the in this new tax regime how there are only two slabs. One is 5% and another is 18%. And we had discussed it now many times how the other two slabs were cut down, which is 12% and 28%. And also there is the extra slab of 40%, which is for sin goods and luxury goods. So in this regard, let us see what are the key points given in here in the article. Here it says GST 2.0, a term for the comprehensive reforms from the 56th GST Council meeting, aimed at simplifying and improving the GST regime. New tax structure, the four-tier system has been replaced with a streamlined two-tier structure. This includes a standard rate of 18%, a merit rate of 5%, a demerit rate of 40% for select luxury and sin goods. Then benefits for consumers, the new rates reduce taxes on daily essential like soap, toothpaste, and packaged foods, as well as on cement and construction materials, making housing more affordable. It would lead to consumption would be there. Then, as money is in the hands of the people, and eventually it will definitely lead to the economic growth. Then support to business, lower rates will benefit labor intensive industries like textiles and handicrafts and the automotive sectors. Relief for exporters and MSMEs, the reforms correct inverted duty structure, which we discussed yesterday also, that how taxes imported on the raw materials are much higher than the final cost of the product. So this is the inverted duty structure. It has been corrected and remove refund thresholds for low value consignments, boosting their competitiveness. As new simple GST registration scheme with automated approvals in 3 days is introduced for small businesses to ease compliance and encourage formalization. Then institutional reform, the Goods and Service Tax Appellate Tribunal is being operationalized to ensure faster and fairer resolution of tax disputes, building business confidence in the system. What is the economic impact? The changes are designed to boost consumption, empower small businesses, strengthen manufacturing competitiveness, and attract foreign investment. Positioning India for its next phase of economic expansion. So this is what exactly is the major purpose of these economic reforms or the tax reforms. So in this regard, what kind of question you can expect from the examiner? A very simple here. The reforms announced at the 56th GST Council meeting are moving India towards a streamlined GST structure. What are the key tax rates in the new structure? 5%, 18%, and special demerit tax of 40%. So option B would be the correct answer. With this, let's move to the last article of today's discussion. Here, well, it is the story about Gaza, where there are, almost, there is no number now how many people had been martyred there by the brutality, from the brutality of the Israel. And right now they are under the genocide. And now, as per the article, Israel's Gaza City takeover bid begins with the strike on high rises. With the big buildings, they had started to attack them. So right now the world, even though their allies started to not cooperate with them, for example, UK, France, they try to move away from this stance of Israel, but still it is continuing what it is doing in Gaza. And eventually, basically, it is the US, all the Israel is doing it because it is getting the open hand from India, from USA. So these are the things which are happening right now. So in this regard, let's see, how will world react, how world, we are the live witnesses of the world's biggest genocide presently, and we are not doing anything at all. So let's see what will happen in this regard. And for us, what are the key points? Let's have a look at it. Here, military offense. Israel is intensifying its military operations to take over Gaza City. Key targets: an Israeli airstrike hit the Mushtaha Tower in Gaza City, which Israel claims was being used by Hamas for surveillance. What is the humanitarian crisis? The offenses has created a humanitarian dilemma for residents who face the danger of staying in declared combat zone, or the difficulty of finding shelter after being displaced multiple times. Then there is hostage situation. There are 48 hostages still held in Gaza, with concerns for their safety mounting. Hamas released a new propaganda video of two hostages to pressure Israel. There is, you know, again the pressure from the Israel itself, and how Hamas has used these videos to put pressure on Israel to go for ceasefire. Then casualties, the Palestinian health minister in Gaza reported 69 fatalities in the last 24 hours. Domestic opposition, the offense has sparked protests within Israel from citizens who fear it will endanger its remaining hostages. So this is what exactly the article is about. Basically when Israel started these attacks, their aim was to free the hostages and to teach the Hamas lesson that such attacks would never happen. But unfortunately, none of these things had been achieved in these 3 years. But what is evident that they had killed more than you know 60,000, I guess, is the number right now. More than 60,000 people there, and they are the civilians. So with this, I'm going to conclude my discussion here. If you like the video, please do subscribe the channel, do share it with your friends so that they may also get benefited from this initiative, and please do write in the comments what else should we bring for you guys. Thank you for staying with me. Thank you very much. As today's video, in today there was no such discussion. There were not so many articles on which we could had discuss it. That is the reason there are only five articles here, and they were small articles. So I would like to thank you for staying with me. Thank you very much, and have a nice day.